We've found a new lease of life here in Season 3 of our realistic Crystal Palace career mode. Just as it looked as if our season and the series was over, we won in penalty shootouts in back-to-back games in the FA Cup. That saw us progress to the semi-final stage of the competition where we'll be taking on our rivals Brighton. And not only that, but we've rediscovered our form in the Premier League as well, resulting in a month in which we took all available points for the first time in the series. However, at this crucial stage of the season, we cannot allow ourselves to become complacent. We have to see things through to the end. And that's because we have to qualify for a European competition at all costs if we're going to get a fourth season and continue the series. If we do fail to qualify for Europe via the FA Cup, then we lose our job and we will be moving on to a new team and a new series. Now, I'll let you guys vote on the league that you wanted to see in the next career mode series, and overwhelmingly, you voted to see the Bundesliga. However, you're not the only ones that are going to have your say. Enigma Football are actually going to have a word in the next career mode series too. Enigma Football are the UK's leading supplier of football shirt mystery boxes, and they have sent me this. It's a mystery box that contains a football shirt of a team in the Bundesliga. However, I do not know which football shirt is contained within this box. So at the end of the Crystal Palace series, whether that's at the end of this episode, if we don't manage to beat Brighton, whether it's at the end of the next episode because we make it to the final but lose, or whether it's the end of Season 4, we will be opening this mystery box and finding out which team we'll be using in the next career mode series. So shout out to Enigma Football. They really are an excellent sponsor. They were fully on board with the idea, not only of providing the shirt, but of selecting the team as well. All of the shirts that they provide are 100% real and authentic. They get them direct from the clubs and the manufacturers themselves. You can order just a single mystery box from them, and you can decide whether you want that to be a completely random team, or you can ask them for a team from a specific league, a specific colored shirt, teams to avoid, or you can sign up for a subscription mystery box package where they will send you a mystery box once per month. Either way, you're going to get the shirt for roughly half the retail value, and you can bump that price down even further if you use code LAMSY at the checkout. So I'll drop a link to Enigma Football in the description below. And again, shout out to Enigma Football for sponsoring. On to our games for today's episode. 3 more Premier League fixtures. I will show you highlights of our home fixture against Chelsea to kick things off. We will quick sim Tottenham and Leicester in between before we round things out with a featured game at Wembley against our rivals Brighton. It was Chelsea that really kicked off this poor run of form for us way before Christmas, absolutely smashing us 4-1 in the Carabao Cup and then beating us 2-1 in the Premier League in a disastrous month of December. So there's not too much to play for in this fixture beyond revenge for that defeat and the prospect of a top half finish. And we certainly put in a better performance than we did last time out against Chelsea. Daichi Kamada testing Unai Simon early. Chelsea created a number of good opportunities themselves in the first half though, forcing Dean Henderson into a number of saves to keep things level. But it was Chelsea who would take the lead just after the halftime break though. Mykhailo Mudryk finding space in the penalty area and dispatching a fantastic finish. We almost had an equalising goal shortly after when Constant Tellius found Malcolm Ebiowe with a fantastic pass at the back post. Unfortunately, he hit the side netting, but we did continue to play well and we had our just rewards shortly after. Constant Tellius once again finding a teammate, this time Emmanuel Dennis. His first shot was saved, but he was first to the rebound to make it 1-1. So Chelsea probably edged the game over the course of the 90 minutes, to be fair, but not by much. So a draw probably the right result and a much improved performance compared to last time out. And I think we can continue to pick up points here and there if we continue to perform at the level that we have been in recent episodes. We will look to pick up a result against Tottenham Hotspur away from home. And indeed we do, thanks to a late equaliser from Giannis Constantelius. He's been fairly quiet this season, but it's a goal late and a goal early for us, sandwiching 2 goals from Kanate either side of half-time. The points that we pick up in the Premier League are ultimately meaningless. We're going to finish mid-table-ish, no matter what happens over the course of the last few games of the season, but it would be nice to finish top half, so we'll look to put 3 more points on the board as we travel to the King Power to take on Leicester. We managed to do exactly that. Wilf Zaha gets the nod ahead of Constantelius today, and he gets the winning goal after an Ollie Skip equaliser cancelled out Luca Kolyosho's opener. So it's been another fantastic month, all things considered. 2 draws against good opposition and then a win against Leicester. That takes us to 7 games unbeaten now in the Premier League. And of course, we will be looking to round out another fantastic month by securing a place in the final of the FA Cup. It's 1-1 in the M23 Derby series on the season so far. We won at Selhurst Park, Brighton won at the Amex. So without further ado, let's head over to Wembley and see if we can get the all-important tiebreaker to not only keep our hopes of European football alive, but the series as well. So we are back at Wembley Stadium. It's ended in heartache whenever we have visited before in the series, but hopefully we can change that here today as we take on our rivals from down the M23, Brighton, who will be led today by the former Eagle Jean-Philippe Mateta. We did, of course, allow Mateta to leave when we brought in Tammy Abraham, who has been absolutely unreal for us and who looks to get on the score sheet early here, but has gone down and stayed down on the edge of the Brighton box. That is not what I wanted to see. Kamada is just going to take the corner, but Tammy Abraham has picked up a knock. We'll have to see how severe that is and whether it forces him off the field early in this game. I really hope it doesn't. And we need to hope for our prospects of European football and a 4th season here that it doesn't force him off the field. We do have Lucas Stassin on the bench, who has had a decent first campaign. He has, of course, been a rotational kind of squad player for us and hasn't played a particularly big role at any stage. But he's looked decent enough when he's been on the field. Clinical finishing, as we know. But the one thing we have noticed about him this season is that he really lacks pace. He lacks that little burst, that quick step to create half a yard of space for himself. And what a disaster for the Brighton keeper, and Constantelius opens the scoring, an absolute gift. It took me even by surprise. I don't even really know what happened there. My attention was elsewhere. All of a sudden I had the ball. I think the goalkeeper just rolled it out to Constantelius. And he did. He tries to roll it out to his centre-back, I believe Igor. Gets it all wrong. Puts it on a plate for Constantelius, who just about squeezes it in at the near post and below the bar. We did have Tammy Abraham and Luca Kolyosho lining up. But the goalkeeper was, of course, already off his line. And the other Brighton centre-back would have been covering as well. I think taking the shot on was the right result, or was the right decision. And it has, of course, produced the right result for us, as we have the lead at Wembley within 10 minutes. Absolutely unreal mistake. But for Bruggen, no longer at Brighton. I'm not sure where he ended up in this particular save. But I've spoken before about how much I like Bart for Bruggen. I think he's such a good young goalkeeper. Ruter looking to get Brighton back in it. Dealt with very, very well, though. And Kamada will lay it into the path of Milan van Eyck. And Luka Koleosho has space on the right-hand side. The Brighton fullback tucking in. And we'll just try and find Tammy Abraham. Left-footed volley. Not exactly the kind of opportunity that we want to be creating for Tammy Abraham. We want it on his head. At the very least, we want it on his right foot. That left-footed volley never going to end up on target. But if we do progress today, again, just to reiterate, if we progress to the final, we will, of course, have at least another episode. If we win the final and qualify for Europe, we will have another season. Constantelius. We will have a season 4, and we'll see how we get on in Europe. If we fail either today or in the final episode of season 3 to qualify for Europe, if we don't go on to win, that is a robust challenge from the Brighton defender, to say the least. I'll take the free kick then, please, ref. Perhaps not. It's going to be a Brighton goal kick, and no booking there for the challenge on Kamada either. But if we fail to win the FA Cup and qualify for Europe in these last 2 episodes, we will be moving on to a new series in the Bundesliga. And again, we will be opening that Enigma Football mystery box to find out which team we'll be using. If I had to guess, I've seen a lot of guesses in the comments. I did put out a community post about the career mode situation, and I've seen a lot of different guesses. Mainz potentially, Mönchengladbach has been guessed by a couple of people. If I had to guess, it would probably be Dortmund or Leipzig. However, as I said, I genuinely have no clue who is in there, and we will be finding out together whenever this series ends. Adam Wharton. If nobody's going to tackle me, I'll just continue. Finally, it's Viper that does challenge Adam Wharton. Mateta. Chalobah steps up to send the ball back into the Brighton midfield, and Baliba. It's a good challenge by Adam Wharton, but actually really good strength from Viper, who manages to wriggle away from our captain. And the referee gives Brighton a free kick for something. Headed clear by Kamada. Constantelius brings it down. Skips away from Juve. And Tammy Abraham slow to support. Constantelius finds Wharton. It's a good run from Leif Davis. We'll just take the shot on. It's a poor one in the end. I don't hate the shot from range from Adam Wharton there. There was a good run on the overlap from Leif Davis to open things up a little bit. But Tammy Abraham, worryingly, still nursing that injury. He has been able to continue, so you'd like to think that suggests it's not a particularly severe injury, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to force him off here in the semi-final. Great challenge, Daichi Kamada. The Brighton man just so slow to release the ball. And we'll go back to Lacroix. So I think we give it maybe another 7 minutes, maybe until the half-an-hour mark. And if Abraham is still nursing the injury at that point, I think it's safe to assume he's not going to be running it off. And we will bring Lucas Stassin on to replace him. Leif Davis continues into the box. Can't find Tammy Abraham. Won by Adam Wharton. Leif Davis once again. Daichi Kamada in a good area. And we'll just find Luka Koleosho. 2 good runs. One from Kamada, one from Van Eyck, and we do find Van Eyck, and we find Adam Wharton on the edge of the box, and the shot, unfortunately, is pretty much straight at the Brighton keeper. It was really, really well worked, though. Just as a reminder, it is, I believe, Arsenal versus Leeds in the other semi-final. So we could well, if we do manage to hold on to this lead, we could genuinely have a matchup against Leeds United to win the FA Cup. It would be a great run, Constantelius. Bit too much on the pass. It would be a historically easy run for us in the FA Cup. We'd face Norwich, We have faced Wolves. We have faced... I'm blanking on who we faced in the earlier round. So I feel like we faced Fulham at one point. Oliosho. And it's going to be a goal kick. We have hit the half an hour mark. And Tammy Abraham is still injured. So I think we're going to have to bring him off at the next possible opportunity. And we will bring Lucas Stassin on to replace him. Really concerned about that. If we do make it to the final, Tammy Abraham, of course, is a player that we would like on the pitch. He's been a revelation, basically, at Crystal Palace since replacing the likes of Jean-Philippe Mateta, Eddie Nketiah. Neither of whom were really able, and if anything, Abraham's going to be even more injured now after that challenge. Neither Mateta nor Nketiah really able to make much of an impact for us at all. Tammy Abraham certainly has, though. Mateta unable to... Come on. Mateta unable to make much of an impact for Brighton today either, but we will see Lucas Stassin on to replace Tammy Abraham. So I'm going to have to change slightly how we do things at the forward end of the pitch. Tammy Abraham plays on target forward, whereas Lucas Stassin is more of a poacher. And we did use him on poacher support previously. And that proved to be a very effective way to utilise the young striker. That's a really poor pass. Thankfully, we managed to get numbers around the Brighton player and steal the ball back. Constantelius in behind. He's got that burst of pace that Lucas Stassin doesn't. It's a good challenge from the Brighton defender, though. Leif Davis wins the header. Stassin just lays it off for Wharton, and Constantelius just needs to hold that position. He was perfectly positioned just behind the Brighton back line. And he could have received the ball into feet there from Adam Wharton, but he just tried to get ahead of the line instead. And that allowed the Brighton defender to intercept. But about a little more than 5 minutes to go in the first half. We'll take it. And we do still have that one goal lead. It was a lead that was gifted to us by Brighton. But we certainly don't mind that at all. We will take a lead however it comes. And if it comes courtesy of a disastrous mistake by the Brighton keeper, then we will not quibble or complain in the slightest. That's really poor. I couldn't decide whether to pass to Koleosho or Stassin, so I just passed equidistant between the two. And unfortunately, equidistant between the two was a Brighton defender. Obviously, because, like, why would a Brighton defender not be stood there? It's the ideal place to be stood. Oh, God. We really haven't played very well in this first half whatsoever. Lots of misplaced passes, lots of indecision by me. And we are kind of riding our luck a little bit. Brighton, to be fair, have been equally poor. Lucas Stassin straight at the keeper, but Constantelius is going to double the lead anyway. With that 82 finishing from Lucas Stassin that we continue to talk about, I thought he was going to bury it. Not the case. Instead, it's Constantelius who gets on the score sheet for a second time. First was a completely open goal, and this one is as well. This one was even easier than the first. He almost missed the first opportunity. I'm not sure he could have missed from there if he tried. A yard out, in the very centre of the goal. It's Giannis Constantelius and Crystal Palace 2, and it's Brighton 0 after a tepid first half, to say the very least. We've been poor. But somehow we're going to go into the halftime break with a 2-0 advantage. And again, we will not quibble. We will not complain. We will take the lead however it comes. And we will certainly take the 2-goal lead however it comes. Adam Wharton. Poor pass. Again, it's been the story of the first half, really. Misplaced passes and indecision. Thankfully, it's been a not just indecision by Brighton, but disastrously poor decisions by Brighton. At least we haven't sunk quite that low in this first period. And Leif Davis can just hook away. And that will allow the referee to blow the half-time whistle. Where we have a 2-goal lead at Wembley. And we have 1 foot in the FA Cup final. And maybe a big toe in Europe. So back out for the second half here at Wembley. And it feels to me, people complain a lot about scripting on FIFA and FC. And they complain that things are predetermined in favour of the CPU. If you score a goal to go ahead, suddenly the CPU team is just unstoppable. You can't get the ball off them. They pass it around like prime Barcelona, and they get the equaliser. It really feels like games have been scripted in our favour recently. We've been behind several times in recent episodes and still managed to get it over the line. We've played pretty horrendously in that first half, yet still we have a 2-goal lead. It does feel like FC25 is scripted to me at the moment, but thankfully it's scripted in our favour. Great run, Constantelius, and he could have a hat-trick here. Didn't quite put enough on the pass, but that was a perfect run in behind the Brighton back line. And with a little more on that pass, I think Constantelius would have been in. It would have been his most difficult opportunity to score in the game so far. But, I mean, where are you going, Lacroix? But I would have fancied him to grab a third goal and put this game beyond all doubt. At 2-0, the game is certainly not beyond doubt. We are very comfortable. However, we've certainly experienced bigger collapses than losing from 2-0 ahead. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that that could happen here. I think as long as we play disciplined, professional, pragmatic football in this second period, we should be fine. And as long as we don't take our foot off the gas too much. I mean, to be fair, we didn't exactly have our foot on the gas in the first period. As you said, not a particularly good performance by any means. But we certainly don't need to press in this second period, obviously. Lucas Stassin. Adam Wharton. Another poor pass. That was shaping up to be one of the better moves of the game so far for us. But again, we fail with the pass in the final third. Kamada. Cuts inside. Wharton. Constantelius. Leif Davis. Pass takes him wide. But we'll find Constantelius once more. And Lucas Stassin is just holding back. And that was the best move of the game so far, for us at the very least. Maybe for either team. Really nicely worked. Kamada starting out on that right-hand side. Cutting in. And then Constantelius and Leif Davis combining down the left to find Lucas Stassin in a bit of space. And Milan van Eyck has stepped up there and got absolutely nowhere near the ball. Thankfully, Chalobah comes across to cover for him. And possession is safe once more. Constantelius is looking for that big switch of play to Koleosho that we used to like to exploit. Constantelius, oh my god. Excellent feat to skip away from a couple of Brighton players and then gets a venomous shot away which moved, what, a foot in the air from right to left? Almost flummoxed the Brighton keeper. But he does make the save. I assume he's had a bit of a quiet game today, but continues to impress in a Palace shirt. And to be fair, if he's quiet, that's probably not such a bad thing. If your CDM doesn't have too much to do over the course of a game, then that means the game has been comfortable for him. Certainly hasn't made any real mistakes or any glaring errors to allow Brighton in behind, which is his primary responsibility. Koleosho. Lucas Stassin. Offside again. That must be so close. But an hour into the game, Brighton will make a change. We have already made the one change with Tammy Abraham, so I think we'll hang on for another 5 or 10 minutes before we make our second set of changes. Probably a double change at that point. I'm probably looking to just bring a couple of pairs of fresh legs onto the pitch. Leif Davis. Lucas Stassin onto his right foot. It's a poor one in the end, really. Hasn't managed to get a shot on target yet, I don't think. Lucas Stassin. Potentially the shot earlier was on target when Konstantelius punched home the rebound. And it probably was thinking about it. Leif Davis, Adam Wharton. Tries to split that gap to find Lucas Stassin, but can't quite. Kamada. Oh, it's such a poor pass. It's so bad. Just wanted a little reverse ball into Stassin's feet. Couldn't find him, though. Wembley has gone quiet. Oh, Adam Wharton steals the ball away. Finds Stassin. No! Koleosho! It was right there! He was making the run. We played the ball into the right area. It didn't lock on to Koleosho. And he started running backwards. I put it on a plate for him. Oh, that's infuriating. Mateta. Chalobah comes across. And thankfully we outnumber the Brighton striker in the end. Brighton just very slow to get players up in support. Konstantelius isn't going to get there. It's a risky ball back into the feet of the Brighton keeper. And we will put Adam Webster under pressure. And Lucas Stassin will steal it away. And will not quite find Konstantelius. Brighton are trying to gift us the game. They've done their best so far. And they continue to provide opportunities for us. They look so nervous, so shaky at the back. That's a really big header from Lacroix. Oh, and Diashimi, that's poor. Again, indecisive. It's been one of the buzzwords of today's game. Just complete indecisiveness from Diashimi there. Has to do something with it. He challenged Koleosho. Just holds up the Brighton man. Juve. Igor. Make a couple of changes next time the ball goes out of play. 75 minutes into the game now. Davis forces the ball backwards once more, but Adingra does get in behind. Lofted up towards the box, but Lacroix heads clear. Adingra once more. Stanisic for Brighton. This is better from Brighton. Using the ball a lot more efficiently and a lot more productively now. Pulling us one way and then the other. But they do need to create an opportunity at some point. At some point, one of those players is going to have to make a run in behind. Ruter finds Mateta. And Ruter finally does get the shot away. Parried out for a corner by Dean Henderson. Brighton will make another change. Matt O'Reilly on for Jorginho Ruter. And we will make a couple of changes here as well. As Daichi Kamada leaves the field, William Davidson on to replace him. Davidson has been a very, very solid performer for us in centre midfield. So bringing him on with about 10 minutes to go plus stoppage time, just to see out the game in centre midfield. And then we've also brought Ismail Assar on the right-hand side in place of Luca Koleosho. Konstantelius cuts inside. Saw the run of Lucas Stassin. Wasn't confident I could get it there. Adam Wharton. There's William Davidson. The touch was a heavy one. And Lucas Stassin has his goal. It took 2 more bites of the cherry. The first being parried, not exactly away by the keeper, but just parried back to the feet of Lucas Stassin by the keeper. And again we have a goal from a rebound. And it's the 3rd goal of the game. And we are certainly on our way to Wembley once more. And we have booked our place in a domestic cup final again here in season 3. I don't remember, to be honest, if it was the FA Cup final we made last season or the Carabao Cup final. We made one final and one semi. I think maybe it was the FA Cup final last season and the Carabao Cup semi-final. Leif Davis, I'm going to shoot from range. Oh, maybe not. I was about to shoot from range with Leif Davis, but it was an excellent sliding challenge from the Brighton man. Brighton have been so poor today. They've been really, really bad. They play nothing like they play in real life here in the game. So slow. So uneager to get players forward in support and to ask questions of our back line. If Davis lobs it up towards Stassin. Davidson brings it down. Has the strength to hold off the Brighton midfielder. Gets the shot away, but it's blocked. We do still have 2 substitutions left to use, so may use those in a moment. While away the last couple of moments of the clock. Ismail Assar. Good feet. A little bit of a heavy touch in the end. And Wharton finds Leif Davis. He tries to find Lucas Stassin. It's a poor pass in the end, though. Adingra. Oh, it's a really good ball from Adingra. And Mateta is away. And Chalobah gets back in position and makes the block. Brighton to make their final change of the game then as they bring Tariq Lamptey on for Stanisic. And we will make our final changes of the game as well. Leif Davis and Adam Wharton off. Roscoe Torres and Joe Bellingham on. As there are just seconds left of the 90. No way back for Brighton now. As Dean Henderson collects. And he will just... Okay. Whatever you can do, I can do better. Dean Henderson saw the horrific mistake that the Brighton goalkeeper made in the first half. And fancy trying one of his own. I swear to God I was pointing at the left back. And he just lobs it out straight to Mateta. Poor pass from Sarr. O'Reilly for Brighton. Finds Solly March. 2 minutes of 3 added. Have already elapsed. Brighton just killing the clock. And we are more than happy to allow them to do so. Because that means... Okay, they're looking to test our back line one final time. But Lacroix cuts it out. And I'm not sure if the referee has forgotten to blow his whistle here or what. But eventually he does. And we will be progressing to the FA Cup final. And we will have a chance to make Europe this season. I've said it several times over the last couple of episodes. I have no idea how we are in this position. After the month of December, it looked like the series was over. We were not close to finishing in a European place in the league. Our form was so horrific that a cup run was almost unimaginable. But 2 more goals from Constantelius today. 1 from Lucas Stassin. And suddenly a cup run is not only imaginable, but inevitable, it feels. Unfortunately, though, Leeds don't do us the favour that we were hoping for. And it is going to be Arsenal that we will take on in the FA Cup final. And thankfully, when we do take on Arsenal, it looks like Tammy Abraham will be on the pitch because he's just out for 5 days with a bruised elbow. So 6 big games remain here in Season 3. That matchup against Arsenal, of course, and 5 other Premier League fixtures. Those Premier League fixtures ultimately not too important, but we have narrowed the gap significantly on those teams just inside the top half. The likes of Spurs, West Ham, Brighton in 8th, 9th and 10th. The European place is still very much out of our reach. Liverpool in 5th are on 61, as are Newcastle in 6th. So there's no way we're going to be able to overcome that deficit ahead of the end of the season, but we could sneak into the top half and we could even improve is the word I'm looking for. We could even improve on our finish from last season. So the mystery box will have to wait for another day because we are going to Wembley. So we will take on Arsenal and try and put a very first trophy in the cabinet in the next episode. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.